Hey everyone, my name is Riley, and for my persuasive presentation I'm going to be doing on why proper training is important in the workplace. So here's just a few questions that I had and that I looked up that I found, so let's look at them. So have you ever become complacent at a job? So this just means maybe you don't want to grow, there's not opportunities for you to grow, or maybe you're just kind of there for the paycheck. Have you ever worked somewhere that wasn't consistent, whether that be the training, whether that be the hours, the scheduling, whatever it is, it's just kind of all sporadic. Have you ever been trained by someone who can barely do their own job? Maybe they've only been there a month, maybe they just kind of suck, you know what I mean? And have you ever thought the training was a waste of money? I mean, I feel like we've all had these kind of thoughts before, but let's talk a little bit more about training and we'll answer these questions on how to kind of fix them, okay? So let's talk about constant training. So constant training, you're continuously training throughout your entire career. You're not just training at the beginning when you first get hired, you're continuously learning and progressing. So 30% of skills are actually lost annually. So yeah, maybe you can still know how to do your job, you're just kind of not going to be able to do your job as well as you did when you first got hired. So that's why we need to continuously train. It also shows what's needed for the job, all your responsibilities. The world's changing, the economy's changing, companies need to evolve with it. So we just need to make sure that we're updated on all those procedures to make sure that we don't go out of business. It also provides growth opportunities. If we're training people in different areas, etc., then they're more likely to stay because they are continuously learning. As humans, we learn from the moment we're born. We put that stuff in our mouth. We're like, ooh, what is this? And that helps us learn. And we continue that throughout our whole lives. So if we provide people with growth opportunities, they're more likely to stay as well. And ultimately, it just shows we care. We're like, hey, we want you here. We want you to continue to grow with us. You're very important to us. Okay. All right. And then another thing is consistency within training. So consistency ultimately equals consistent performance. Okay, so yes, training is going to be different for every person you train. Some people, it just clicks for them. Other people, that take a little longer, maybe just a few extra days of training to get where that other person is. Okay, but that doesn't mean you can't be consistent with the information that you give them. You got to make sure we give them the same information, and it'll also help create a healthy work environment. So it's not just, oh, you were trained wrong, I was trained this way kind of thing. It was, we were all trained this way, let's hold each other to the same kind of standards. Okay. And then another thing is trainers. So let's just talk about two different kinds of trainers. So trainer one, they've been with the company less than a year, they're not really enthusiastic about training you, they themselves have a lot of questions and can't really answer any of yours, versus someone who's been with the company for 5+ years. They can answer every single question, people rely on them, and they have a great vibe. I'm going with a guy with a great vibe, or girl with a great vibe, whoever. Trainers are also important in making those connections with the employees, and this circles back to constant training, okay? So hear me out. So if you make those connections with your trainees, then they're going to continually come to you and ask questions, and you're their mentor, in short. And then you can continuously train them and help them succeed, okay? So we want to continue to encourage success among our team members, and trainers are a great way to do that. And then again, it just circles back and it's an endless cycle, okay? And the big question, is it actually cost effective? Is it worth properly training? Well, let's look at it this way. So companies that do properly train, whether that be they do like a whole week long of training, whatever, on average experience about 11% more profit than companies who don't. And those companies who don't, 50% of their employees are more likely to quit because of improper training. Maybe they're not getting those growth opportunities. Maybe the trainers were not the best. And that's half, that's quite a bit. So your turnover rate's going to be skyrocketing. And that means you got to pay for the trainer's wage again, you got to pay for the trainee's wage again, you got to pay for orientation, you got to take time to hire all these new people again. So if your turnover is low, by properly training, you're going to save money, right? So ultimately, it is cheaper to properly train, and keep the employees that you already have. Okay, so in conclusion, by properly training, it shows we care, it breeds better performance and a better work environment, it makes lasting connections between your employees, and it's going to be cheaper for you in the long run. Thank you.